Afternoon all, and welcome back to part 2 of my diary of taking my business idea all the way through from the first idea to product launch and beyond. So for part 2, I'm going to talk about taking my initial idea, which was part 1, and putting some more flesh on the bones really. And just a quick recap though, you'll recall that my idea is that everybody, when they reach the age of somewhere between 50 and 70, has a kind of a question in their mind, which is, am I going to have enough money to live out the rest of my days? Should I be hoarding the money? Should I be able to spend the money? Whatever. And then I also think that there is another question which more and more comes into everybody's life these days, and that's, how am I going to actually spend my time? When pensions first came out, when the whole concept of retirement started, probably about 150 years ago, there wasn't very much time we were talking about. You stopped work, maybe lived for another 10 years and died. These days, about a third of your life is a good estimate for how long you'll be retired. So there's a big question about how you're actually going to live your life, and is it just going to be boring waiting for the Grim Reaper to appear? So that was another area. So I thought, okay, can I make an offering to people who are in that age group of about 50 to 70 that would be interesting to them based on those two questions? What am I going to do with my life after I retire, and am I going to have enough money? And that tied in quite nicely with a couple of other aspects of my past, which I've gone into in more detail on the first video. But broadly, I was in the world of finance for a long time before moving into IT. I am used as a consultant to talking to people about what they want, what they need, and then delivering it to them. So that kind of fit is there. So in this video, I'm just going to take you through what I did next, which is I've just basically finished, which was I created, if you like, the avatar of the type of person I was looking to sell to, and I wrote it down, and it's here on my tablet. It's basically, my avatar is people, men, women, and couples. Couples is quite important. Aged between, let's say, 50 and 70. I'm going to try and filter based on the idea that they will be willing to pay for this service, and that they are not just kind of computer literate in the fact that they can use their phone, but they're more kind of at home using computers, and that they are professionals. So sort of in the UK, that would be classing them as sort of ABC1 as the sort of marketing class. Okay, so that's my avatar, and I spent some time thinking about that, because because the product I'm kind of working towards is one that will be a fee-based consultancy service, and I need basically for this to be a sort of pitched towards the premium end with a significant outlay of cash, which people will feel is good value for money, but won't be necessarily precluded by the sheer finances of it. So that's kind of how the avatar sits. Okay. And then I started looking at the if you like, the sales funnel. How am I going to identify these people, and how am I going to actually target something towards them? So bearing in mind that avatar, I decided initially at least to go down the digital products route initially at least, or digital contacts. So I thought, what routes can I use to get to these people? So I thought YouTube is a fairly obvious one. It's almost universal these days for everything, but it is used by plenty of people in the group, and I'll tell you how I actually found that out. The other obvious one really is LinkedIn. people are very, very professional people tend to have a LinkedIn profile and tend to go on it fairly regularly. There's another one as well, which is Facebook, which is pitched, if you like, in the right age group. And I thought about those three, and I thought definitely YouTube. I thought definitely LinkedIn somehow. Facebook I wasn't so sure about, because Facebook feels to me, if I can do it with a really low friction route, I might, but that will be very much the sort of the third strand, and I'm going to focus on the first two. The next question then is, what exactly do I do to attract these people? So I do actually have another YouTube channel, and it's called Life's Second Half, and I thought, well, that's actually something which I could just repurpose for this. It's not got many followers, got about 80 followers on it, and I can actually use that medium. I mean, it's up there, it's established, it's broadly speaking aimed at the right people, and so I thought, okay, I'll repurpose that. LinkedIn, I have a bit of a problem because I actually work full-time still as a IT program manager stroke director, and my LinkedIn profile is very much pitched into the market to win me business. I don't intend stopping that anytime soon, so I've decided instead that for any other forms of LinkedIn usage, I'll go down the corporate route. So I'll create a company identity for this. And then the next question will be, what exactly do I offer people via these channels? And I thought some more about this, and there are a couple of marketing approaches which I really like. I think they are right in the squarely aimed into this target market, and that is, I like the very concept of giving away value for free, because I think that removes sales resistance almost at a stroke, makes life extremely easy for people, and it's very low friction if I can get the process correct. And I also, as a marketing approach, I do like the idea of waiting lists. Seem like I'm a long way off having a waiting list at the moment, but I like that in principle. So where I am now is I have a target market with an avatar. I have a route to address that target market. I have looked at the size of that target market, and for this I'm looking solely into the UK, although it will be universally applicable, so I will make sure that I don't pitch it too squarely into the UK only set. And so to answer the question of how big the size of this thing is, I used AI, I used Copilot, and I also used Gemini for this type of question. And broadly speaking, when you filter by 50 plus, men and women, ABC1, computer, not just computer literate, but regular users of computers, and I used as a bit of a shorthand, I went and looked at the YouTube statistics, and there are about 6 million people in the UK who fall into that area. And I think that's a big enough market, frankly, for this. If I can get the marketing right, the market is definitely there. So, if you like, I've now got, that's where I am at the end of this. I've now got to work out what item of value I can start offering people. The obvious one for me, and I'm going to lead you into stage 3 here, which is going to be about creating a guide. It'll probably be a book around this topic. I have a number of ideas already for this, I'm convinced I can make this really good. And just something which will be coming up in the third part, I'm going to be using a lot more in the way of AI tools, ChatGPT, Claude, just to make sure that I pull together something, because I haven't got the time to do this from scratch, and so I'm going to be using them to effectively shortcut this. But I'm terrified, frankly, of sounding like an AI-generated bot, so I'll be overlaying my sort of character into it as well. So that's where we are. That's where we've got to now. We're now at the point where we're almost beyond the conceptual phase and we're into the delivery phase. This might take a few more days, so it'll probably be about another week before you see the next one. I hope you're finding this interesting. By all means, leave any comments you have, make any suggestions, please, and I'll catch you on the next one. Thanks, bye.